Now, France is once again in political turmoil. The French Prime Minister François Bayrou was ousted in a crushing confidence vote in the National Assembly, forcing his resignation after just 9 months in office. This marks yet another collapse in President Macron's rollercoaster of a government, now facing the toughest test of its fractured mandate. What does this mean for his future as president, and indeed his vision for France? Well, joining us now is William Drozdiak, a biographer of Emmanuel Macron and author of The Last President of Europe. William, hello.
Good morning.
Thanks very much for being with us. You wrote in The Times last week about meeting Macron back in 2017, shortly after he became France's youngest head of state since Napoleon. You say he was then a young man in a hurry. How would you describe him today?
Today, I think he's forlorn, beaten down. He's trying to finish his mandate in the best possible manner for over the next 18 months, since he has to step down in April of 2027 after 2 terms. And he's concentrating primarily on international affairs. He's trying to play an active role in securing some kind of a ceasefire in Ukraine, and also in trying to help resolve the Middle East. But he's left the running of domestic affairs largely to the prime minister and the government, because he realized that he was becoming a toxic player.
I mean, look, many liberals here certainly thought he had redefined and re-energized the centre of politics. Should we regard that whole project as a failure, or did it work for a time?
It did work for a while. I mean, he managed to change the labor laws in such a way that it put many more French people back to work. The unemployment rate dropped to less than 7%, the lowest in more than 2 decades. And he also inspired among young people a sort of an entrepreneurial view, trying to capture the magic of Silicon Valley and innovation, bringing a lot of young people back into the country who had emigrated to London or else San Francisco to make their careers, in the hope that they would launch some kind of a private sector revolution in France. But what has caused his reforms to falter is the obsession that many French people have about holding on to the state-provided subsidies and benefits that they get. I mean, France has universal health care, free education through university, 6 weeks of paid vacation, and retirement. It was 62. He managed, at the risk of a civil war, to push it up to 64, where other European countries have retirement ages at 67 or higher. So the French have been able to enjoy these magnificent benefits and consider it anathema to any politician who tries to tamper with it.
Yeah, I mean, will he, do you think, survive until the end of his term?
Well, I think so. There's not much that others can do. He's locked into that, but his problem now is trying to find a prime minister who can deal with serious debt and deficits that is jeopardizing the French economy, and the bond vigilantes are circling around and could really damage France's standing. I think what he will be tempted to do is look for somebody, a moderate on the left, who could possibly bring in the socialists, but it's going to be a very tricky effort, because he's already talked to Olivier Faure, the head of the French socialists, and Faure said he doesn't want to have any conservative members in his cabinet. So that means he would not be able to set up the kind of center-left coalition that might bring a modicum of stability. But I think we're in for continued political instability in France, which could have serious economic repercussions.
He wanted to redefine the European project as well. Although the EU is, of course, not in a happy place, if it ever is. Europe, in some respects, is sort of closer today than it has ever been, but largely because of the threat in Ukraine. Could he be seen to have had some success there?
I think so. As I wrote in my book, I think he was the one who sounded the alarm for other European leaders to to make a bold leap forward toward a more politically and economically integrated Europe. And indeed, he was vindicated by other leaders, like Mario Draghi of the European Central Bank, who said, we need these reforms or Europe will become an appendage in the new age of great power rivalry. I mean, Macron's whole point over the last 8 years has been that that Europe needs to become more integrated in order to stand up to defend its interests against China, Russia, and the United States in this new era of great power rivalry. And I think he's been vindicated. Other leaders now say, yes, we regret that we didn't endorse his views earlier. But he's been frustrated, as he told me many times, that other leaders would not go along with him. He said, okay, come forward with your own ideas. And they remained mute. And its biggest frustration was with Germany, of course, with Chancellor Merkel and then her successor, Chancellor Scholz. Neither of them wanted to embark on this bold new age of European unity. And it's only now with Chancellor Friedrich Merz, who is a profoundly convinced European, that he believes he has a shot at making some progress. But it's too little, too late.
William Drozdiak, author of The Last President of Europe. Thanks very much indeed for joining us.
Merci Madame la Présidente. Je trouve qu'on a montré une image républicaine, honorable et active. Et donc de ce point de vue-là, je voulais, au nom du gouvernement, remercier l'Assemblée nationale et en tant que Premier ministre, remercier les membres du gouvernement. C'est très important pour l'avenir et je suis heureux que nous ayons pu partager ce moment. Je suis frappé par les messages que nous tous nous recevons d'une minute à l'autre et ces messages sont des messages profondément heurtés par la violence des propos et c'est le cas exactement pour l'ensemble de la vie politique. Je trouve que si nous pouvons, par notre attitude, essayer de sortir de cette image de violence et de mépris, nous rendrions service à la démocratie que nous défendons. Il n'y avait qu'une question posée aujourd'hui.
Oui, aujourd'hui est un jour de soulagement pour des millions de Français. Soulagement que vous partiez, Monsieur le Premier ministre, après vos mensonges face au scandale Betaram qui a mis des générations d'enfants en danger. Soulagement de ne plus avoir comme ministre de l'Intérieur un homme qui parle comme Pétain de français de papier et qui hurle à bas le voile. Soulagement que vous emportiez dans votre chute votre projet de budget cruel et injuste qui visait à dépouiller le peuple de France. Car vous n'êtes pas seulement une imposture, mais un danger pour le pays. La violence de votre politique s'abat dès le berceau. Plus de 2000 enfants naissent, vivent et meurent dans la rue, aux côtés des 350 000 sans-abri du jamais vu depuis l'après-guerre. Notre taux de mortalité infantile est là. Nous alertons solennellement. Tous ceux qui tenteront de sauver le soldat Macron tomberont avec lui. Les insoumis ne se vendront jamais pour une place dans des ministères. Vos passages en force ne passent plus. Ils atteignent leur... À présent, il ne reste plus beaucoup d'options aux forcenés de l'Élysée. Le président ne souhaite pas changer de politique, alors il nous faudra changer de président. Ne lui en déplaise, en cette rentrée, la souveraineté populaire revient à la mode, le dégagisme aussi. Partez aujourd'hui, Monsieur Bayrou. Emmanuel Macron vous suit de près. Le peuple s'impatiente. Il a tout un monde à inventer.
Je vous remercie, Madame la Présidente Panot.